Well, so my shit hit the fan realities thing is well received. A whole bunch of people watching that and a whole bunch of people commenting on it. I don't know what to say about that. So we're going to talk about carbine optics. This thing. I have decided that I'm going to replace the optic on this. And my reason for doing this is I want a small red dot to put on my other scope. And at the same time would like to upgrade this thing. And if I had unlimited funds, I would get an aim point of some sort. Preferably an aim point comp M4. Since I'm not made of money. I probably am going to get the fucking Sig Sauer clone of it. Just to play with and review. Because like it's going to be a long time before I have $500 to get a used comp M4. Or a Pro of some sort. I can't even find an Aimpoint Pro for sale anywhere for any amount of money. That's the other reason. And you can get a couple different variations of the big Sig for like 150 bucks. 180 bucks, I think. For the one that takes the AA battery and is the Comp M4, it is like $180. So I might not get that one. I might get the Comp M5 because those are only $120 right now. So that gets me a red dot to play with on this thing, especially one that still has a rheostat switch and takes the big battery, because that's what I really care about. Which I would consider AAA's to be a big battery. It's like I need a drink. God damn. I've been vaping and like I didn't have an option there. It was, I needed to have a drink. Yuck. I'm kind of toasted. Whether I sound that way or not. Yuck. And now my mouth just tastes like wet weed. You ever like, Jesus, you ever smoke a lot and then you drink anything sugary and all of a sudden you get way higher? That's what just happened to me. Wow. I'm like tripping balls. Okay. I think the SIG will work for this thing. I was wanting to upgrade to the Aimpoint to have a dedicated night vision carbine kind of thing. And that's where this thing's going to head eventually. And at least getting the fucking SIG for training purposes, maybe. I'm talking myself into that. Because in reality, the $100 spent on that is a substantial chunk of the other optic. And I'm kind of wanting to set my shit up, at least on this gun, to where it's kind of night vision capable. Which is, eventually figure out how to get a laser on here. I don't know how I'm going to do that. But in reality, I don't think you're ever going to be using a fucking laser. Because everybody has night vision. And once everybody... Like, this was my philosophy of yesteryears. I had high-powered lasers. Real ones. You can go back and look at those videos. And... it's not all it's cracked up to be. Performance-wise, it's a substantial difference to have the high-powered laser. But if you're never going to be able to use anything that emits fucking radiation, then who cares? So, like, you might as well just have a fucking white light. Because basically the only thing you're ever going to fucking use it for is emergency illumination. And like, this is kind of my current philosophy on a night vision carbine, is like, don't fuck around with a fucking laser at all. Set your shit up to run passive all the time and be real good at using the fucking aim point. And I'm going to get a bigger tube aim point to do this. I might get a Surefire Vampire light eventually. That would make sense on this rig. But like, that's shit more money, right? I don't know. I really would like to have all of my shit rigged with stuff that'll really work. And this is half of my thing. Is like for most of what I'm gonna do, the fucking hollow sun and the fucking white light will be plenty fine. I'm going to buy a PVS 7. Don't know when, but sometime in the next probably 2 to 3 years, I'm going to buy a PVS 7. It's a target of opportunity kind of thing. And I'm trying to set up all my shit to be better for night vision. That is going to be used at night anyway. Like the thing with the other rifle. Pull this out. I kind of figure that this is mostly a daylight gun. Like, it's a scoped long barrel AR with a bipod. Like, I don't know, unless we have a clip-on of some sort, it's probably not going to get used at night much. It is the kind of thing, though, that, like, if you did get, like, a clip-on thermal or clip-on night vision rig, this thing is pretty much ready to go. Like, I'd have to make some adjustments, but they'd be minor. They'd be real minor. I'd probably have to back the scope up some, and I'd probably have to fucking adjust where my hand grips are and shit to have rail space for a fucking optic. So that's kind of the idea with this thing, is that it eventually is going to be set up probably for night too, but it's a heavier, more dedicated rig or whatever. It's meant to be its own thing. I don't know what kind of shit I'm going to get for it. If nothing else, I have a spotlight for it already, which, to be honest, some of the things, like, you'd be like, what good is a spotlight? Well, end of the world, you're, defending your little compound or whatever, and you need someone to, like, watch the gate. That's when a spotlight might be handy. People know where you are anyway. You're in a fucking tower of some sort or whatever on a building. You might as well be able to see them. We don't have a fucking, M60 or whatever. We don't have a fucking insert belt-fed machine gun here. What do we have? Well, we have, long-barreled AR-15s with drum mags and scopes. Hell, you might even have, like, a real, like, bolt-action sniper rifle or a semi-automatic 308 of some sort. Accurized or not. Like, say you had an FAL with a handful of mags for it and its bipod. Dude, I'd have that. That's a useful thing. It's not as useful as, like, a fucking, accurized AR-10 or whatever, but it is a useful thing. Especially, like, what I was talking about there, where, like, you have a checkpoint or gate coming into your community. That's the sort of thing that it might be nice to have overlooking the entire position. That's Mr. Backup. In case things go wrong at the checkpoint, you have someone really, really good on that thing, and probably a couple of people with precision AR-15s telling him when to shoot. That makes any sense, because that thing's not exactly going to be a precision weapon. Like, it's like a light machine gun, especially being used in that kind of environment, unless you put optics on it too, which would be bitchin'. Really, a FAL or G3 with a red dot and a bipod and a drum mag, that's a hell of a fucking gun for most things. I don't know if buying that SIG optic is really the right call. I kind of want to get one just to review it. Which means that I want to play with it to see how it is, and then you people will get to see it too. And I need a placeholder optic. And it's one that I might actually not fuck with or paint. Save and give to my uncle. It's not a bad idea. Especially $120, it's not that expensive. Although it does suck up most of my prep money for like fucking 2 weeks. I basically have $100 a week that I can throw at whatever the fuck I want. And, you know, that's how we're doing projects now. Welcome to, you know, the financial end times or whatever. It's one of those, like, man, should start hooking. Except everyone's too broke to fucking make any money hooking. It's like things keep getting worse and worse. I don't know. Maybe I'm just in like the wrong market. Sure, there's somewhere where fucking whores are still making money. Probably in fucking like LA and New York and shit. Where there's like literally Nancy Pelosi and her husband doing coke off of the fucking neighbors or whatever. That's what it seems like to me anyway. Oh. I really want the Aimpoint Pro for nostalgia reasons. For forever, I considered that to be the best optic. I owned several of them. At one point I was a hardcore Aimpoint fan. I had one of every model they had made since the 1970s. Yeah. This is why, like, you know, I think I did videos on old red dots, maybe. I don't remember. I bought a bunch of them to do videos on, but really they weren't cool enough to do a thing on, so I just kept them as knickknacks. And eventually I sold all that shit off. I should have hung on to that shit. I sold it for drug money. You know, I sold a lot of shit for drug money. Worth every fucking penny of it. You know? There's a lot of bullshit that you really don't need. And like old ass aim points are some of that bullshit. I used to have a lot of like unnecessary shit. And trying to maintain being a fucking survivalist prepper gun nut while also having a girlfriend that liked to fucking party. I don't know. It's not for everybody. Welcome to this channel. I miss her. You should get used to that too. You probably, every time that bitch comes up, that's Dakota, my ex. I miss her like all fucking hell. I think I will for the rest of time. She's cute. She's cute. She's young, and she fucking loved guns, Star Wars, and fucking communism. Which you'd think that doesn't mix or whatever, but like, you should definitely fucking date a Democrat. That's all I'm saying. You should fuck the sense into her. It was very, yeah. You know, welcome to fucking dating in the 21st century. Oh. Anyway, I would like to have one real aim point, and I think I'm gonna get a Pro. Eventually, I'd like to get a Comp M2 to put on my Fluxrator, but that's not emergent. This is where, like, I wish I had had my head on slightly better when I had that car money. I got $28,000 for my car during all that craziness with the car market, and I bought a bunch of random shit, and all of it's good, but like, had I thought about it, I probably would have bought a PVS 7 and a couple lasers and a couple of real red dots. few other things, but like there were holes that I missed and shit where I'm like, that's a waste of money. I thought about buying all that shit. I'm like, yeah, we have a limited amount of money. We should spend it on other fucking shit. And like, I ended up spending a lot of money on food and a lot of money on like a couple of new guns and a lot of money on like a car and fucking shit to put in said car. Like, I'm still kind of working on that. My car project is going to go on for forever, I think. But anyway, that's why we didn't buy better optics. I already had the Holosuns, and I kind of was like, they're fine. But the more I get to thinking about it, the more I'm like, are they really fine for everything that I'd want to do? I think they probably would be. I think a lot of the fucking, is it night vision compatible, is a bunch of bullshit, to be honest. I used Holosuns with night vision the whole time I fucking had it. And this is where, like, maybe I should just stick to fucking cheap optics. Say fuck Aimpoint. But it would be cool to have one, right? I want to have one. And the Aimpoint Pro or Comp M4, whichever one, I don't really care which, would be bitching to have because they're like the big Aimpoint. You know, the fucking Comp M2 clones that I have, the fucking Holosun 403Rs, are really good. Like, they're really, really good. So I don't really see the reason to pay money for the fucking for the small Aimpoint. For the big Aimpoint, it's kind of like nostalgia, I guess. And legitimately, it would make this thing very, very high-end night vision capable in a lot of people's minds in like the most ghetto, fantastic way. It's literally so retro that it's awesome again because it's fucking good at night vision. There's a whole bunch of that. Like, there was a thing a few years ago, I was fucking around with Vietnam guns a lot, and I like to fuck around with optics, and the little adapter bridge things are not that much money, so I played around a lot with those. And while I was doing that, I liked the position that height red dot put me at for night vision, and I was even talking to guys about that back in the day. It was like, hey, this is actually pretty cool for running passive nods, and they made fun of me and said, oh yeah, Captain Chinwell, and like now they're all fucking doing it. Fucking pisses me off. But in reality, running a carry handle mounted optic is pretty badass now, according to most people, and I agree. I told them that years ago. There's a big question in my mind as to why we didn't fucking make a carry handle with 1913 rail across the top or some shit with a sight built into it. Because, like, why do we have these, like, tall-ass optics mount things? We already had a thing to put optics up there. Like, I get that this was an evolutionary process or whatever, but like, if you're really spending like a couple $100s to get a Unity tactical mount, I think you're a fucking moron. Just my opinion. If I was gonna do that, I would have a fucking carry handle. And I think I'm not alone in that thought. I don't know. There's some sort of way forward that maintains the carry handle and iron sights of a fucking regular M16 and has a super high mounted optic for night vision that someone should do. Just keep a bayonet lug on it too, but it should have a fucking rail. It needs a rail for fucking mounting night vision, but it also needs to be able to take a bayonet. This is my own weirdness. That's what I want. Well, I think that's all I've got for this. I didn't really have a plan going into this, just talking about optics and shit. And the shit hit the fan reality shit, I think this is real. And I think, like, this is where, if you want to fucking know how to fucking prepare for fucking the end times, prepare to just always have a gun on you. And, like, if you're out in the wilderness, I would make it a long gun. And if you're in town and other people are shooting at each other, I'd make it a long gun. You know? I think that's the reality of shit hits the fan. I'll still be here. I'll still be doing my stuff. Watching the world go by. Like, I think most people aren't going to try to steal other people's shit. They might go loot a store. It's one of those, like, maybe if we had a mass die-off and people are just looting houses, going house to house because most people are dead, maybe then you should fucking think, like, I don't know. That's a totally different situation than anything we might face, in my opinion. It really looks to me like we're going to be facing protracted hard times. I don't see any way out of the financial shit that they've put us in, really. And some of that means we're going to war. We're going to war in multiple places all at the same time. And that's going to happen as soon as the Republicans get power again, probably. They're more hawkish than the Democrats. The Democrats are pushing for all kinds of wars right now for reasons I know not why. They seem to really want us to go to war.